Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a very special end of year SiteSwan recap. I'm going to take you through the top features of 2025 on the SiteSwan platform. We're very excited to be doing this with you today. I don't want to stray from what we normally do, and we all get together. So I want to hear a quick little win. You guys are all active clients on here. We don't have any prospective clients, all active paying clients who are out there actively reselling websites. I want to hear a couple of wins, please. Give me anything positive that's happened over the since the last time we got together, or the last time you got on one of these, or if you haven't gotten on one of these, any win at all since you started with SiteSwan. I see a couple of you are brand new. A couple of you have been around for quite some time. Give me one solid win. Use the questions tab on the bottom. I want to go over a couple of those with you to get us going. And I have so much to share with you today. There are a lot of fun things that we've done this year. Some of them you might not know about. And I actually can't go through everything that we released this year. I'm just going to hopefully help you discover or rediscover the cool new enhancements that we made to the SiteSwan platform. So, questions tab on the bottom is where you will be able to communicate with me and my moderators, of which there are two going on three. So, everyone's going to get an answer to whatever they are writing to us. Now, of course, only you'll be able to see the questions you ask, and our moderators. You can't see each other's questions. That minimizes distractions and results in higher productivity. Christy set up a meeting later today with a potential new client whose store we went onto a vacation over Thanksgiving break. And that, my friends, is how you write off your vacations. Doug is talking to a potential customer about the reputation management feature tomorrow. They're very interested. Cool. That is excellent. James sold his first 2 sites this past week. Congratulations, James. That is incredible news. Mike started managing the email newsletter for his gym with about 12,000 members. That is so cool. I'm actually kind of curious how that ends up going with your time commitment on that, and also if it might lead to any opportunities to sell some websites. Joe has some meetings set up after the holidays with prospective clients. Good stuff, Joe. Before the holidays, don't be shy about encouraging them to do it before the holidays. It's when a lot of people can actually focus on this kind of stuff. Frank's got a question. Manny says, I have no new wins the past couple of months, but I wanted to see if you can give me your critique on my new offer. Absolutely, Manny. Post it there. I'd be happy to look at it. Jay says, several new clients this month, a paving client, a concrete contractor, and commercial kitchen cleaning this month. Website and leads, reviews, and Google business profile. Very cool. Michael is close to closing his first client, which is his gym. So Michael is taking a hint from Mike about selling to the gym that he attends. Wendy just met with a client today who created a website using AI and it was finished in 10 minutes. He realized pretty quickly this was not the way to go. No SEO, inaccurate info, etc. He has no idea how to fix it. We're going to do it for him. Exactly, Wendy. There are lots of things out there that make people think that they can build their own site until they go and try and do it and they realize it's poop. James says, I can no longer access the PDF for postcard on site. I've sent service requests. Cannot access, still available. Can you email me, please? James, I don't know what exactly you mean. PDF for postcard on site. If you could be more specific, I could maybe try and troubleshoot while we're here. Manny's submitting his smart site package, which I'm more than happy to look at. We'll just wait a minute for that. These are great wins, guys. Thank you so much for posting this. Always love to hear the success you guys are having. There are currently about 35 of you folks on here today, and we are going to rock and roll through this list. I won't be surprised if you're going to see some stuff and be like, oh, didn't know we had that. Those of you who are brand new, you might also say, I didn't know it was any other way. But it's still, I think, important for you to understand the evolution that we are having with the SiteSwan platform. So I want to make sure you, however, know who I am and why I'm the one presenting today. In case you don't know and haven't been on one of these before and have no idea who the heck I am, I'm Justin, one of the co-founders here at SiteSwan. And I'll have to be honest with you, when we launched SiteSwan in 2011, yes, 14 years ago, I honestly never thought I'd be hosting a session like this with so many of you, covering so many advancements that we've made. You guys are piling in as I speak. But here we are, 15 feature releases of 2025. There was a lot more that went into that. But I had to pick some, and I couldn't pick them all. For lots of these, I will be doing live demos so you can understand exactly how they work. And I'm also going to give you a sneak peek at some upcoming features we plan to release in 2026. You'll also have the opportunity to voice your opinion and do it all live and actually cast a vote for what kinds of features you want to see us develop next. Then we'll wrap up with the Q&A, which I'm going to save the Manny Martinez thing for the Q&A. My moderators would just kindly remind me at that point. In case anyone needs clarity on what I'm showing you or what someone else is proposing. So without further ado, let's go through all 15 of these new features. I'm dying to know which one of these goes unnoticed for you. Also, a little sidebar, I've broken these into two different groupings of both. The first grouping is going to be design related, and then the second one is going to be kind of dashboard / administrative. So I just froze and I don't know why. I'm going to switch my screen so you guys can see this a little bit better. So the way this is going to work is my first 10 are going to be design related, which have to do with the way the sites look and how things work when you're building them. So let me just make sure that everything is good after that little short freeze. Bear with me. Okay. Okay. I see your note, Brian. All right. I'm having a little bit of difficulty monitoring whether the feed is going smoothly. So my moderators, anything comes up, just shoot me a text and hopefully I'll be able to see it. Okay. All right. Put that there, that there. Here we go. So kicking off the design features segment of our future releases, I want to talk to you about our themes. In 2025, 69 new, actually, as of today, I believe this number just changed to 70. New themes are released in 2025 for all of you to utilize, which is bringing a total of 392 as of today. So this is updated since we just launched one. As you know, themes are your starting point for any new site that you create. They're all professionally designed, industry specific concepts that are optimized to not only make a great first impression, but also get fantastic search results. Every new theme we release opens up brand new opportunities for you to sell more sites. Like if you made it your business to sell just one site to a local business for each of the themes that we have, you'd have 392 clients paying you minimum 50 bucks a month. That's over $19,000 a month you'd be making. No excuses, guys. And it could be a lot of fun too. Like literally take one of these themes. Let me just show you. All right. Let's just do this. Let's take a theme. Let's see. How do I switch? Here we go. Let's take a shoe repair theme. Okay. This is a relatively new theme we put together. You do a search. I don't care what city and state you put in. You are going to see a boatload of opportunities. And you're simply going to go down this list, call these folks, ask them if they would like to see a beautiful website design you've been working on and schedule a time to show it to them. Just keep going. Each theme that we have, just keep going down the list until you get someone to say yes. Just keep doing that. You know, these themes that we put out, okay, they might seem a little unusual to you sometimes. Guess why? Because it's real SiteSwan resellers just like you who are coming across opportunities to sell a site to someone and they realize we don't have a theme for it, so they ask us to do it and we do it for them. I actually want to take a minute to highlight for you some of the more unusual, a little more obscure, and more interesting themes that we designed and released this year. I find these super interesting opportunities. Okay. The first one here is parking lot striping. This is so cool. Okay. Parking lot striping business is legit. These guys actually do pretty well for themselves. And this is a dynamite site. It's so cool. The next one is a fireworks store with this cool video in the background on the homepage. Fireworks stores are in a lot of different states, and a lot of their sites just are horrendous. Okay. We're not selling fireworks online, we're simply displaying the variety and encouraging people to come in. Then we got steel drum lessons. Never would have even thought this was a thing, but look it up in your area. I guarantee you're going to find opportunities. This is, by the way, a really great represent. You know how hard it was to find inspiration for like a steel drum lessons website? Like we created, I think, the best looking steel drum lessons website on the internet, period. Then we got this one, which is really cool. RV tank cleaning. RV tank cleaning. Yes, it's an industry. It's legit. We got this one. Where is it? Opera Guild. Yeah, there's opera guilds all over the place. They all need websites. A lot of them absolutely stink. I'll show you one more. Underground Utility Locator. I know these are obscure, but they're so nice. And you can close one of these deals with crazy efficiency because you're going to show them something that looks better than anything they've seen on the internet for their industry, period. And I want you to please thank your fellow SiteSwan resellers for these themes because all of these that I just showed you came from our resellers requesting these themes. More specifically, they were paid for by your fellow resellers. How is that possible, Justin? Because we afford you the ability to actually put your requests for themes to the very, very top of our list. You can pay to prioritize them. And by doing that, we guarantee you'll have a beautiful new theme ready to sell to your client in about a week. And it's a crazy low price. It's only 99 bucks. Just last week, we had a client tell us, I originally planned to build this project on WordPress, but after having such a great experience with a custom theme you created for me earlier this year, I'd rather work with you again to ensure that the new site turns out exactly right. That previous build was excellent, and it set the bar for what I'm looking for with this next project. And that was Anthony with the Slingshot Rentals theme. If you haven't seen this theme, it's awesome. Came out so nice. But look, I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want you to know what you have available to you as a SiteSwan reseller. Lots of times when we put out a theme design like this Slingshot Rentals theme, and we see a client use it, it's the best damn Slingshot Rentals website on the internet, period. Okay. This banner is what you're going to see on the Create New Site screen in your dashboard. If you click on this, you'll be able to submit your information to get a theme purchased. With me so far? Let's move along. The second new feature I want to highlight is the hero image background box. Now, in order to pump out all these beautiful theme designs, we needed to release features that made great design more accessible to everyone and give these themes their own unique flair. Quickly, though, and easily. And one of the first things that have that impact on a website is the visitor's first impression. That's the hero image. Why is my image not even showing up? There it is. Come on. Let me see it. There we go. The hero image. Now, the hero image is what we call above the fold. Okay. It's the first main section of the website. And we released something that's, I'm going to call it subtle, but can have a really big impact when used correctly. And that's the hero image background box. Have a look at these themes that utilize it. Now, note that they are different colors, they are different opacities. If you've never used this before, let me show you how. It comes stock on a lot of our themes, but not all of them. So, in case you're on one that doesn't have it, I'm going to highlight that for you. So, let's take this site, for example. This is one of our plumbing themes, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous site. And let's say we want to add a background box to this. So first things first, I'm pretty much not every, but the large proportion of our themes are going to have a hero image post as the very first thing. How do I know? When I click edit, it says hero image section. See that? So now what I can do is I can head over to the style tab. And if you guys don't know this about our platform, every section that you edit, you'll generally see a content tab and a style tab. All right. That's the way that works 90 to 100% of the time. What's cool is that from the content area, you'll be able to modify any of the information about what appears on here. And then from the style tab, you'll obviously have the ability to display the functionality or display the stylization. So all I have to do is toggle on this option for background box. And just like that, it adds a box behind my text. And I can control the color of this, which I don't think I'd choose anything other than black in this scenario. And then I can also choose my opacity. I could dial it down. I can dial it up. One of the great reasons for having this on a site is because it makes the contrast between what's behind the text much greater than what's in front of it. So what I mean by that is that an image like this, especially if, let's just turn this off for a second, especially if this overlay color on the image itself isn't that strong, you want to keep some of the brightness of the image. A lot of these letters become lost with the contrast of the white tiles in the background. But once you pop that background box on, it allows you to keep this background image brighter and then still be able to see the text crystal clear. It's all about increasing the contrast as well as adding a really cool design element. So it's a dual purpose. So that's the gist of the background box concept. Let's proceed. On to the next, number 3 on our list, is the idea of adding multiple buttons per section. So it became obvious to us earlier this year that although your main call to action on these hero images is usually the one thing you want to tell your user to do, sometimes you want to offer them an alternative thing to do if they're not going to do the primary thing you want them to do. So take this site for example, okay? This is a shoe repair site, and the main main purpose of this hero image is to get people to submit their information about getting their shoes repaired. But if they're not ready to do that, we're giving them an alternative thing they can do, which is to click for the pricing in this example, okay? So the pricing button can actually be pushed to a pricing page or a specific section on the site, which I'll talk about in a minute. In case you don't know how to add this to a site, I'm going to quickly demonstrate it. It's a relatively simple thing. So let's take this site. Okay. In order to generate the second button, all you have to do is scroll down to the buttons area when I click edit and make sure I'm on the content screen. Scroll down to the buttons area and you will simply add a button. So now it supports up to 2 buttons. So if I delete this one, you'll see it go away. All I have to do is click add button. And there it is. By default, we pull on the screen. I'll change it to whatever white. I'll change my button color text to my brand color and then click save. And now I can just make this say, our pricing. Or I'll tell you what else I can do with this. I can actually say something like call us. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, instead of a link type of page on my site, which is going to be the default, I'm going to instead go to tap to call. So I can actually put the client's telephone number in this. And what this will do is it'll activate this button to initiate a phone call to the number I input in this field. So this is really great for mobile users to be able to get to call the business if they have a question about what's going on that they can't get answered by just viewing the site, or if they're just the type of person who wants the personal touch, they can certainly do that. Just to remind you, other options you can have is to go directly to an email, to go to an off-site, which means a different URL section of a site, which I'll demonstrate, and of course, page of my site. So that's the way that works. Okay. Those are your 2 buttons. I have seen people use this mostly on the hero image, but you can also use it elsewhere throughout the site. So if I wanted to add it to this post, for example, I don't know if I'd recommend it, but if you wanted to, you could do that. Even to these, which I definitely wouldn't recommend. Um, Anywhere you see a button, you can now add multiple. All right. All right. Let's keep it going. On the topic of buttons, I want to show you the number 4 item on our list. This is actually a really small feature, but let me just switch my screen. It's a very, very small feature, but it's something that kind of breathes some life into your designs and makes the sites feel alive. And I'm talking about button animations. And you actually have 2 options to choose from for this. All you have to do is select one and then just watch them come to life. It can dance, which is what you see on the left. That's the red button. Dances every 4 seconds. Or you can choose the pulse option, and that's going to do a continuous pulsation. This is great for drawing attention to the most important calls to action on a site to help increase engagement and click through rates. My personal suggestion, stick with one animation style per site. It's often I usually wouldn't recommend having 2 buttons animating right next to each other because then they're competing and you don't know what this is all about, like making it really super clear to someone what the thing is that you want them to do. So, real quick, how do we do this? It's very simple. When we're editing the button, like we just were, we can go into here, edit the button, and then go down to where it says animation and do dance. And then we'll just start dancing every 4 seconds. If I want to change it to pulse, I can just go to this drop down and select pulse, and it'll start a continuous pulsation. And that's that. Easy breezy. All right. All right. Let's get back to it. I've been doing a lot of screen switching today. I hope it goes smoothly. Next up, I want to go back to the shoe repair site for a second because I want to highlight the fact that as I scroll down, okay, the header actually stays locked in at the top of the screen. You see that? This is a feature that not only looks cool, but it also adds significant function to the site because the navigation remains easily clickable and accessible no matter how far down you scroll. Another cool effect is that if you have the transparency dialed down in the header area, once you scroll, it goes up to 100%, ensuring proper contrast, which is really, really cool. Toggling this on is easy. I'll do a quick demo for you. So if I'm back on my, whoops, all right, if I'm back on this site, what I'm going to do is I'm going to design and then header. And then it's actually a very, very, very simple thing, which let me just show you the difference here when I do this. So I'm going to dial down my header opacity for a minute because I want to be able to show you something that uh, the way this functions. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off sticky header, and you're going to see that as I scroll, the header just stays up there. Okay. But as I turn it back on, you are going to see it just lock into place as I scroll down. And that is that. It's super easy to do. It's a one-click turn on and very, very straightforward. There is literally nothing else to it. It's one toggle. You don't have to think about it. It just works every single time. So that's your sticky header. That was a feature that was long requested, and we had to do a couple of significant advancements in the back end to make it work. One of the most requested features of 2025. So I'm happy we're able to get that released. And we actually do have it on some of our themes already out of the box. You don't have to even turn it on in a lot of cases. All right, let's continue on. Also integral to making these sites really pop and to make great design accessible to all of you, the introduction of section dividers. I have been a huge advocate for this for literally years. This is what gives you cool shapes and angles that can help you transition any section of one site to the next section below it. And lots of times you may not realize how impactful this small design element is, but it's so easy to implement, which I'll show you once again on this site. All right, so notice the difference here. We have this pointed down, and then we have this wave. You can control this on every single post of every single site. Do I recommend using it on every single post of every single site? No, I do not. I recommend you use them sparingly. Certainly not on every single one. And I also am going to make a recommendation that you don't go trying to make, using every single section divider on the same site. Okay, I would not recommend that. I would recommend selecting a few, maybe two-ish, that you would use on a per site basis. And also, one of the tips that I have for you is that you can reverse them. So sometimes if you just choose one style, you can have both versions of it, the upside down version and the regular side version, which will give the site, I think, a really cool flair. So, how do you do it? When you're editing, again, any section, it does not have to be a hero image, for example. All you got to do is just go to the section divider in the style area and change it to whatever it is you want to do. Okay. So I just made that jagged. All right. And I can do this again for every single post. This one has kind of this slope down. This one just has none. This one's got to slope down the opposite direction. So notice how a lot of these are opposite. So I have jagged right, and if I could change this to jagged left, sometimes both of these will work really well on the same site. Um, that's how that works. Now, one little caveat to this, okay? One little caveat is that if you have something called parallax scrolling on, so if you guys have ever seen this feature, which allows to the background image of the post kind of stays there exactly where it is. I can always see this guy's eyes as I scroll down. That's parallax. Watch, if I turn it off, he scrolls with the post. So parallax is a really cool effect that you can do, but it's not compatible with section dividers. So you're gonna have to choose one or the other. If you're dead set on having this parallax scrolling functionality, you are going to have to forego a section divider. But if you're adamant about having a section divider, you just got to turn off parallax. The only thing I want to mention about this, but it's a pretty easy thing to overcome because usually there is one of those two things that's far more important than the other to make this section of the site really pop. You also have a dancing button over here, so you're able to see that in action as well. All right, let's get back to it. So, next up, something else that was a long time coming. the new map post. And it's actually extremely versatile. I think when some of you have seen this map post for the first time, you're like, cool, I can add a map. But it can actually function as a design element to your sites. You have so many different controls with the map post. You can make them look very different from one site to the next. I want to show you what I mean. So on, oops, hold on. All right, let's go to it here. Um, Map examples. All right, so here's a quick snippet of some of the different ways you can display maps on your sites. Okay. The first one is going to be this is a 50-50 split. So you have the map to be half of the width of the post, the text on the other half. And I just changed the backgrounds on these so you can see the difference between them. So this one is like a 1/3 of the width. And I've also made both of these full width of the entire site, meaning we're maximizing the margins on these. And then this one actually goes to the edges, if you know if you see what I mean here. Okay. So there's no gap between the map and the edge of this post, which is kind of cool. This kind of stuff is what really makes these maps pop. Here's another example. We're actually bringing in the margins, making it really small. This, I think, is a more quote unquote traditional way of displaying a map, but then you can get to do some cool stuff. You can have a map be really any width and any size that you want. So, any height that you want. So, you can really control how dramatic this looks. And here's one of my favorite ways to put the map in, which we do with a lot of our themes, is that we'll make this map like the very last post above the footer. And sometimes you can do a cool post transition on it. And this is a really nice design. If I want to just show you quickly the difference between some of these. So the way I get this map into place is if I click edit, you're going to see that I don't have any text associated with this map. That's what allows me to get this look where the map goes from the top edge all the way to the bottom edge. The address is required, of course, because that's what we pull in for the actual map. But look at the style option. What I chose is this one. So this is basically going to be full width with the copy above the map. So if I did put any copy, it would go above, but I like the way it goes right up to the edge of that post. This way, if I had a post transition above this one as well, it would cut into the map, which is a cool look as well. So basically, by going through these 9 layouts, you're going to uncover different ways to display the map. And as you can see here, like I promised you, you have the map height, which you're able to control. You can bring it down really, really small. You can make it super large. It's all up to you. And all the features associated with all the other posts on the site, like section dividers, the ability to animate it in or out, are compatible fully with the map post. So this, I think, gives you guys a ton of options with being able to customize contact pages a lot better. And of course, brings some life to the whole footer area of the site. More on that in a bit as well. All right, let's continue on. We're plowing through this, guys. Just make sure I'm not missing any really important questions. So I'm just going to pop over to my thing here and check it out. Yes, we're going to have a recording to this for those of you who are curious. Um, let's see. Michael's finding this helpful so far. Ed asked a really good question I just want to highlight for everyone else. He said, are these new design options, do they carry over to older sites that even I've built a year ago or 5 years ago, whatever, or since like literally since our inception in 2011, all these features work on a site that you built in 2011 on our platform. Tina likes the dancing buttons. And someone did ask originally about, I love these questions. I'd be more than happy to answer these guys if you want to put them in for me, because I think some people could benefit from hearing this. Someone asked about, like, can I create my own templates, my own themes? And the answer is no to that question. We would have to be the ones in charge of the themes that everyone has access to. But you could, of course, duplicate sites in your account to kind of create the idea of a theme. We have a couple feature requests coming through. Okay, this is great, guys. Very, very good. We don't support multiple locations on a map, Joe, but I'll tell you what you can do on a map. You can just put a city and a state. And what's cool about that is that you'll be able to kind of hit. I'll show you what I show you what I mean. Show you what I mean. Let's go back over to the site. All right. So let's take this one for example. Let's take whatever. I don't know, any of these. Go to this one. So instead of having all of my location information, I'm just going to put the city and state, Albany, New York. And it's actually going to be able to highlight. You see this with a red outline here? Okay. It highlights the entire city of Albany, which is really cool. This is actually specific for the zip code. If I take out the zip code, does it enlarge it at all? Yeah, it does. The zip code actually narrows Albany's recognition because just looking at the zip code. But I could do something like this. And then on the map over here, it does say Albany, New York. So that is something you can do. We just don't support multiple locations on the same map because that would mean some really weird stuff with how far apart they are and how small the map would be and all things like that. But if you have multiple locations for the business, you would just simply put multiple map posts or multiple map sections on the same page that allow you to show off the multi-location nature of that business. All right. All right. On to the next one. I'm going to show you a really helpful feature we launched this year, which is on page links. I kind of teased it a couple times already. It allows you to make a button, for example, clickable to take you either further down on the same page or to a specific section of a different page of the site. So if I want to take someone directly to the contact form that's either further down the page or on a different page of my site, I change the button link to section of a page. Okay, that is the big thing here. The link type section of a page. Then I can choose the page. So either could be the page I'm currently on or not. In this case, we're showing you the contact us page. And then the section drop down magically appears. And that's going to allow you to choose from this drop down exactly where on this page you want someone to go to. So in this case, if we had an email form on the site, on the contact us page of the site, it would appear right here like it does. So if I selected email form section, get in touch, the clicking the button would take me right to the contact and scroll me down to that email form post, which is really, really great for getting leads to submit their information quickly. Because we know how sensitive you are to overcomplicated features. We tried really hard to simplify this without exposing more complications to you. Okay. That is a big winner. Number 9 on our list. This is a fun one I think a lot of you will like or did like. We rolled out 7 new shapes for you to enjoy when displaying images on your sites. We've already used some of these in our themes. And this applies both to image posts as well as gallery posts. These shapes create, I think, subtle but impactful visual enhancements to sites, making them look more unique. Here are some of the options that you have. You have the diamond option, you have this arch option, you have the hexagon, you have organic. Now, organic, I only shown you one of them here. There are 3 different organic shapes that you can have. So, and I'm going to show you one in a minute that's another version of organic. And then this is, I think we call it teardrop, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. I have to look up what we call it. But all these options are available to you on the image posts as well as the gallery posts. While we're talking about images, I also want to mention that in 2025, we rolled out vertical text alignment. So as I promised, here's another one of the organic image shapes that we have. Text alignment applies to video posts as well as image posts. And sometimes here's the deal, right? You have an image and you have text next to it, but you want to control if it's top aligned or bottom aligned or middle aligned. And now you can. This is one of those things you probably didn't realize you could benefit from having, but it is here now. I've had this issue several times building sites where I'm like, gosh, I just don't have enough content to fill the height of this area. I'd prefer if it were just centered. Or maybe you do want the top align look. Um, Lots of different reasons why you'd want different stuff here. I've also seen some examples of like when I'll tell you a good reason for bottom align. I've seen sometimes people use images of a person, but there's no background behind the person, so it's transparent over here. All right. And they'll use that. Now, the problem with that is that the top alignment will sometimes not, because an image rarely has, like if you take an image, if you take a photo of someone, okay, You rarely crop the image right here, right above their head. Usually you're cropping the image up here. So if this part gets pulled out and gets transparent, and then you're putting it as an image on the site, your text is going to look misaligned. It's going to align to the top of the image, but not the part of the image that's actually visible, which is the person's top of their head. That's just one simple example of where having a bottom alignment or middle alignment makes a ton more sense than having top alignment. So I would definitely recommend pay attention to this very small feature when you're like, something's not right about this image post. It could just be a simple alignment thing. Okay. Um, that should that shouldn't be there. Grateful link contact forms. Oh, why put that there? All right. Last of our design features. This has to do with columns, or should I say, the post formerly known as columns. It recently underwent a transition, and columns is now known as items list. And we're still keeping in parentheses columns for those of you who are diehard columns fans. So, two major enhancements are available to you now, which offers maximum flexibility. One of the great things about our columns post is that you can add different types of things to each column. So that means you can add an image to one, only text to another, and then a video plus text in the third, for example. But now you can also add icons to the mix. Thanks to an integration we've established with a company called the Noun Project, you have access to over 8 million icons that you can add, and you can even recolor them on any of your client sites. And you can pair these icons with other enhancements to columns. You can now make column posts with multiple rows. So you're no longer limited to just one row. This is actually tremendous. I'm going to show you an example, which is one of our newest themes we just released last week. I'm going to go back to the Slingshot Rentals one because what we've been able to do is create a services post where we're listing out the different services that this Slingshot Rentals company has. And icons is like the perfect application for this. Number one, because it's really hard to find images for Slingshot vehicles, and number two, because how many different times are you going to show pictures of Slingshot rental vehicles, right? So icons is like a really great example for a really great use case for the services post here. Now, if I did want to insert some images instead of icons, I could do that. Would I? Probably not. But I certainly could. Let me walk you through how you can go about taking advantage of this. So I'm going to go back to my site editor. I'm going to find my Slingshot Rentals theme. So here is my columns post. And what I'm going to do to generate an image, or excuse me, an icon, is I'm simply going to edit this. I'm going to find the icon that I want to edit. Okay, I could also add a new one if I wanted to. And all I have to do is simply click this option, and I have a whole library of icons I've already added. I can also choose from, again, 8 million different icons. And I can also filter them if they're solid, like filled in, or if they are line designs, which are super helpful for keeping the icon styling similar throughout the entire post. So if I want to do vehicle, I'll get some different options for that. If like anything you could think of, and you'll be able to get an icon for it. All you have to do is simply click it, and you're going to add it to your icon library, just like images, guys. When you're searching our databases for images, you're going to select the icon, click OK, and then you're going to, if you'd like to, change the color of it so that I can, of course, modify that to any color of the rainbow that I want. Now, these can be, of course, removed as well. So if I wanted no icon for one of these, I can do that. And the way in which I select from icon to something else is this drop down here, the media drop down. I can have none, I can have an image, I can have video, or I can, of course, have the icon. All right. These are ready to go. And of course, now as I showed you before, you do have the ability to have multiple rows. So one of the things that you're probably going to remind yourself about is the items per row feature. This you'll see on the gallery post as well. And if I choose to have 4 items per row, it'll go 4 on the first and now 2 on the bottom. And I have room for 2 more that makes it nice and clean. So the items per row is not going to any longer limit you to total number of items on this columns post. It's just simply per row. Super, super helpful for these services type themes. Okay. That is how you do it. I encourage you all to explore the use of icons on your sites because it makes a really big impact It's so easy to do, especially when you can recolor them so quickly. Now let's switch gears and talk about some feature releases and platform enhancements that go beyond design. I want to move into some dashboard and administrative enhancements that we've made, hopefully, that I don't want to say hopefully you might have overlooked or you might have just missed out right. I'm just going to check the questions to see if anything about what we just went over you have questions on. Mike says the Noun project collaboration was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I use them on every site. Yes, you you definitely should be using them on every site. Joe says I literally just did this today to add an email icon to a mockup site. I know. It's so cool. It's so cool. Angie was mentioning that she was talking about the map feature and is doing this for the map for her contractors on their location pages that she builds. Ah, see guys, listen to this. Angie is a contractor as a client, and she's building out location specific pages. One of the things we talk about for optimizing SEO for different markets. And she creates new pages, one for each town or city that they do business in, and she'll produce custom content for each page, and with that, a map of that area. Very, very cool. Thanks for offering that up, guys. Please keep posting any comments, thoughts, or questions in the questions tab. That is the way we can communicate today. All right, let's get back to where we were. So we're up to number 11 on our list of 15 things. And I did mention number 11 is now officially in the dashboard and administrative section of our presentation today. The first in this section is the ability to charge a client for a service you provide them that goes beyond the website. So this came up a bunch of times as a feature request when our resellers would sell something to their existing paying clients, like logo design, for example. Okay. Business cards is also a big one. Maybe getting their menus printed, or maybe they built out a Facebook page or set up a Google business profile. Okay. All these things you could be selling to your clients, something outside of the website, you can now charge your clients for very easily using the built in client billing feature, even if you have an active subscription for them. So many of you are servicing small businesses in ways above and beyond a website. We felt it was critical to give you the tools to charge your clients for them effortlessly. So, and it's also nice because now you can, manage all the transactions in one place. So, built into client billing feature in your dashboard, you'll see the option to set up a one-time fee. It's right here. And this can be used again either before you set up a monthly recurring subscription for your client or while you have an ongoing subscription for the client. You can give a name to the charge and then process their card right from the dashboard. It's super, super easy. I've seen people kick off a job like this. So they'll charge the one-time fee for a logo design. So just so in case you guys don't know this, one of my biggest recommendations if you're ever going to get into logo design is to sell them on the logo design first. So, because oftentimes the logo design will dictate the whole kind of look and feel and the vibe of the site. And you don't want to start going down a path that you then have to back your way into at a logo design. You'd prefer to get their branding and their logo design done just right first. Once that's done, then you can start building the site. So, since you know what theme you're going to use, because we're all industry specific, you will oftentimes create the site for the client first because you know what industry they're in. You're not going to show it to them. Then you're going to use the set up a one-time fee option to charge them for the logo design. And then after that's approved, now you're going to insert it into the site and customize the site for it. So that means colors, fonts, and things like that to make sure it lines with the logo. That is my 2 cents on how to sell logos. Next up, right below your client billing settings in the dashboard, you are going to see something also pretty new called the website performance report. This is literally one of the coolest things that we have done to help you keep your clients up to date on what's happening with their site, also serving as a way to automatically and effortlessly stay in touch with your client, keeping your name top of mind. With this free built in tool, you can set up an email report with all the most important site statistics to go out automatically on the first of the month. Just enter your client's email into this little box. And yes, you can enter multiple email addresses for those of you who have clients with multiple people in charge of the site. And we take care of the rest. And here is a sample report so you can see what it consists of. Very easy to read and understand. This not only helps keep your clients in the loop of their site's performance, but also serves as proof that you are actively managing their site each month. It's not uncommon for web designers to charge a premium for website reports like this. I'll show you the full report really quick in case you guys haven't seen this. It is ever so slightly different than the actual stats tab that you have access to when you're logged into any of your client sites, but I do feel the need to show it to you so you can understand what's going on. So the first section is the performance overview. It's going to have the unique visitors, visits, page views, pages per visit, total time, average time, and bounce rate. These are the metrics you're accustomed to seeing on the stats tab, but we define them for you as well because we don't want this to just create work for you, right? Where you send this out and then the client's like, "Hey, could you tell me what pages per visit is?" Like, oh man, what did I just do? It's all right here. They can answer their own questions by simply reading. Then we have a list of the most viewed pages. So this will list out usually the home page first. It's always the most viewed, as well as the interior pages in the order that they're most viewed. We'll take a look at the inbound links, which is going to be all the ways in which people get to their site. The sources, how are people, this is kind of a grouping. Do they come directly to the site by typing in the URL? Are they using a search engine? Is there another site that they're clicking on a link to your site from? And then finally, activity and mobile engagement. So we talk about the location map views, the hours of operation views, the contact form submissions, how many tap to calls, how many mobile site visits. These is all really great info for the client to manage. And this goes out the first of every month for all the previous month's data. Okay. It's labeled June 2025. This will be all of the June 2025 data. It gets sent out July 1st. That's how that works. Like I said, it looks a little bit different, but it is almost the exact same info that you can see on the stats tab of the site when you're logged in. All right, let's move along. Next up on our list, getting toward the end now. I want to make sure I highlighted this one. It's a biggie. Everyone on the SiteSwan platform now has access to meet with me a couple times a month in a group setting. This is something we dabbled with late last year, but only this year we fully stuck to it on a regular cadence with these. So many of you join these sessions. We hear all kinds of great questions that I answer live. We all learn so much about each other during these, and everyone tells me how much they enjoy being on them. But wait, there's more. Because in case you haven't been paying attention and your head's been in the sand and haven't seen all the pop ups we put in the SiteSwan dashboard recently, you get one on one coaching with your success coach. And together you can go through the entire 14-day launch plan. She holds you accountable, guides you when you drift, and sets you up for success. In these Zoom meetings or phone calls, if you're more comfortable with that, that's fine. You can be coached through using the platform, landing your first client, or even scaling your business. So don't sleep on these. Make sure you book them. Make sure you show up for them. All right, we're on to number 14 now. And I want to point out that a couple of things that you might have missed in the resources section of the dashboard. We don't often put a ton of emphasis on this, but I need to highlight this stuff because it is super important. Okay. In the resources section of your dashboard, there are two bonus videos in the training program. One that helps you figure out if you need create a business entity or not, like an LLC or a corporation, sole proprietorship, etc. And another video that digs a little deeper on domain names. Some of you still get intimidated by that. They're quick watches. If you can just devote a little bit of time to it and have any interest in getting up to speed in those departments, they're there and they're waiting for you. Also, I want to draw your attention to the fact that we're slowly transitioning to give you more flexibility with editing the marketing material you have access to. For example, this business card design and this 4-page marketing brochure, not only are they completely redesigned and updated, but both are now editable, both in Google Slides as well as Canva. So we're trying to make it even easier for you to edit these, customize them, so you can get them professionally printed and use in your in-person marketing. Further down in resources, we've made significant updates to our SEO checklist. We did a whole webinar a couple months back on this. I want you to check that out if you haven't yet. And we also created 4 new resources for you. A web design business startup checklist. Okay, that's right here. This is going to basically allow you to understand exactly what you can or should have been doing when getting your web design off the ground. Really helpful to you newbies. An income forecasting tool so you can better plan how many sites you got to sell and at what price to achieve your desired goals, as well as a friends and family worksheet so you can spec out how you'll set your pricing for people closest to you. It's great to have all this figured out before you get approached by um, someone that's close to you. You want to cut them a deal, fine. Just know how much you're going to discount it. It's all spelled out here. We give you advice and a worksheet to help you do it. Finally, we got the Google Business Profile Optimization Guide. And this outlines best practices for setting up and managing Google Business Profiles for your clients. And I think it's super, super helpful. On to our last new feature of 2025. Look at this timing. You might have noticed recently that the site details page in your dashboard is getting simplified. Do not worry, we are not getting rid of stuff. We're simply relocating them specifically to the site editor. So that means in order to access things like site-wide HTML code or form submissions or URL rewrites, integrations, you're going to click on the settings dropdown and find those items. And when you do find one, it's going to take you to a different screen now where you can access all these things right here. You just got to click back to site to get back to where you are. Okay. So if you're looking for integrations or email form submissions in the dashboard, they're not there anymore. You're going to come to the site editor, click the settings tab up top, and you're good to go. Just makes a lot more sense for them to be within the site when you're editing it rather than the dashboard. And there's still more that's going to get moved. So get comfortable with this whole concept. Um, this is a um, this is a way that's going to allow us to give you more room to work with what we consider very key elements of managing your client sites. And by the way, if you prefer not to expose these settings to your client because you're like, wait a second, I've always had this stuff in the dashboard. My client doesn't have dashboard access. Don't worry, you can still restrict their access. You just either don't grant them access to their site at all, or simply control that permission and choose what they can or cannot edit. Okay, and there you have it. Those are the top 15 things that we rolled out in 2025 on the SiteSwan platform. And I'll admit it was hard to settle on which 15 I would feature. We put so many cool things out this year. But I do want to pause here to see. I'm kind of curious if the speed I went with these was a little too fast, too slow, just right. So just kind of give me that feedback right now in the questions. I also want to see if you have questions about anything I already shared with you. So I'll quickly glance over there right now to see if you have any comments about how we're plowing through this. We don't have much left, so just stick around for a bit and give you option to. We want to hear your voice on some stuff, so just stick around. Any questions up to this point? Um, Reasonable price to charge for Google Business Profile setup. I would say at least $200. At least $200. Angie says we're going at a good speed. Michael asks, "Does replay?" Yes. No problem. You get tied up with clients. I get it. It's okay. Pace was good. Demos are helpful. All right. Pam said, "Did you go over the new column layout?" We sure did. It'll be available in a replay. And by the way, as soon as I end this, which will be in about probably 10 or 15 minutes, a replay will start from the beginning, which you can certainly watch right away if you'd like to. All righty. Let's keep going then. I know that you all have at least one feature you'd love to see us roll out on our platform. And I want you to know that when you submit a feature request in a support ticket to us, we take them very seriously and we discuss them every week. Every week. I personally discuss them with the team every single week. Your requests guide what we build out for our clients to use. If you have one now, if you haven't already, if you have one now, go ahead and post it in the questions tab. But before you do, I want to quickly point out a couple of things, tease a few things that we have lined up for 2026. You know what's coming up and what might be expected. The first thing, I got shocked by this, guys. So listen, for a long time, you've all been begging us to give you more control over the footer designs, right? And I promise this is coming. Anybody want to see more footer design controls? Just type footer into the questions tab. Footer. Curious if you could do more stuff with the footer. We've heard this come up quite a bit. Wendy says footer. Pam says footer. Christy says footer. Frank says footer. And Andre, Michael. You know what, guys? Fine. You know what? We'll just release this right now. We'll just release this right now. Check this out. From the footer. If you click edit, you now have a style option which allows you to control the footer layout. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. You can choose one column, which will stack everything all nice and neat and cute. You can do two columns, which is most similar to what you have right now. And then you can choose three columns, which will put the social icons over here on the right side. This is great for when the client does have a lot of social icons. Like, for example, like if you look at our site, which we should probably do this for our site. I don't know. We'll see. We have a lot of social icons. So this would probably look really good in a three-column layout where all those just be lined up over here on the right side. So that is a thing that you all can use immediately on any of your client sites. Style, so you edit the footer, go to style, choose your footer layout, and you have some controls. And that is the latest and greatest for your footers. So at least you can give these a little bit new life and have fun with that. What else is coming? Let me show you. We got some upcoming stuff with an AI site builder. Allows you to quickly build a site for any industry with unique content every single time. We have some stuff for AI content generated, which helps you flesh out some site content or filling in the blanks or maybe even regenerate content. We also have some really cool ideas and contests for an AI marketing assistant to help you brainstorm marketing ideas, brainstorm blog concepts. Uh, think of this like an opportunity to chat with the local business marketing expert right from within your SiteSwan dashboard or while editing the sites. We also have new header layouts that will help the tops of your sites look different from each other. So, you know, I'll admit this is the very first thing a lot of people see. So this could help you differentiate one site from another. And along those lines, the idea of header buttons, this has been a long request, which are great for inserting a primary call to action, something super, super important you want the site visitor to do, right into the header area, which can add not only a design element, but cool functionality. And then also we have some improvements lined up for reputation management, like a new social proof widget and review showcase that can get embedded into your sites. And on top of an add-on service like reputation management, we've been super interested and kind of curious in adding additional marketing services for our clients to sell, including social media content creation, Google profile optimization, and other local SEO services. We'd ideally like to help you transition from just being a web designer to being a full-fledged digital marketing agency who's offering the most in-demand services that small businesses need to thrive in 2026 and beyond. So this is probably a good time to put this out. Okay. I have a poll here that I'm going to require all of you to fill out so long as you are on this chat today. So I am going to do this one. All right. And what this is going to do is it's going to ask you what would interest you the most in seeing us focus on in 2026. The first option is to continue to enhance the site builder with design functionality. The second option is to integrate anything and everything related to AI. The third option is expansion into add-on marketing services that you can sell. And that's just what I mentioned 2 seconds ago. The fourth thing is additional access to us and each other in the form of some sort of SiteSwan community. You can select more than one of these. I'd prefer if you selected only one so we knew where to prioritize because it's impossible to prioritize everything. But if you feel like there are two or even maybe even three things you're like, yeah, I definitely need to focus on this, then please go ahead and do that. If it's something outside of these four different categories, I want you to write other or just click other, and then in the questions tab, tell us what in fact it is. Okay, so go ahead and submit your vote, and then I think after you submit it, you'll be able to see. Only after you submit it will you be able to see the statistics on what everyone else is saying, so you can compare what your desires are to what everyone else's are. So go ahead and fill out that poll for me real quick, which a lot of you are doing. And it looks like expansion into add-on marketing services you can sell is leading the way. I shouldn't have said that until you all voted. Sorry. Well, I don't want to influence anyone else's votes as they're about to fill it out. So cool. I'll let those continue to come in while I now take you to our last and final screen, which is where we are going to encourage you to post your thoughts on new features you'd like to see. Hopefully, what you are posting is going to align with the category of the answer you just submitted on that poll. If there's any that I can address or ask follow-up questions about, I'm going to do that. I'll maybe point you to a temporary solution for now. I would love to do that if I could. So let me just quickly look at those as they are coming in. Joe likes the idea of an AI site builder. Fred is curious about an AI receptionist. That's cool. Jason, white label. What were you responding to? I just had a potential client ask about social media marketing. I'm looking for a white label company to work with. Social media marketing. Mike says a tap to text feature would be amazing instead of a tap to email, which not all business owners check. Getting text messages would be helpful for a lot of industries. Hopefully, we can make this happen. I think it's cool. I like that. Let's see. Michael's a fan of the marketing assistant. Mylan is saying native IDX integration. Those are so tough to work with, Mylan. They're very, very tough to work with. I don't know if we would actually get seriously into that. There's just so many moving parts and so many ways to screw it up, and a lot of technical stuff in the background. For anyone's curious right now, if you have a realtor client who wants to put their listings on the site, um, uh, the best thing I could recommend for you right now is to go to MLS, grab the code to embed the listings onto the site. Don't use the IDX feed because we don't support it, and also because there's a lot of moving parts with that. But the MLS kind of widget that they give you, just copy and paste the code in there, and you're good to go. Amaka says tap to text using WhatsApp. That's cool. Let's see. Ed says chatbots that leverage answer a client's question immediately. Yep. Also, Frank asked that as well. That's cool. Two people said chatbots. I would like to be able to locate a site in the prospecting tool by their current URL. Hmm. Oh, so you mean like you're creating a site for them and you want to be able to um, build a new site for them by simply typing in their URL? James wants suggested white label for additional services. Okay. Yeah, Mylon, I'm sorry about that. Cool. So those are all great. Let me see what else you guys asked earlier so I can look at them now. Frank says will we be able to post videos directly and not through YouTube or whatever? So Frank, I want to say yes, but I would love to know why you feel that's so important. And I'm going to tell you the reason why we have done it the way we have is because YouTube and Vimeo have proven themselves very, very capable of hosting videos reliably, not taking up bandwidth, and being able to display those devices on every single operating system, platform, smartphone, whatever, flawlessly. So the idea of having to now build our own to manage video playback, which sounds simple, it's actually not, is a monster. And we've avoided it because the relying on YouTube and Vimeo have been so good. But if there's a specific reason why you feel like having something native would be very, very beneficial, I would love to see it. Wendy's asking if we can get a simple line divider instead of the section dividers we have now. You know, we used to have line dividers and we kind of secretly, quietly got rid of them. Wendy, if there's a site where you're like, I wish we had a line divider, I'd love to see it so we can um, reconcile that. Oh, I love this one from Dwight on the calendar section or event post. Can we add an option to add an image beside the date? Yeah, yeah. This is definitely something I think would be helpful if you're using that feature. All right, I want to go back to what Manny says. I promised I'd look at this. Manny's got a smart site package for $125 a month, which includes mobile optimized website, AI lead assistant, which captures leads 24/7. Love to hear about that. Unlimited updates, which means text and images, no problem. Secure hosting, daily backups, reputation shield light. I'm assuming that's reputation management. Yep, where he's pushing 4 to 5 star reviews to go to Google, 1 to 3 stars to privately message you about the review. I love that price point, especially with the AI lead assistant, wherever that is. Um, that does sound good. He's also doing no setup fee, and he's doing more extras and a more higher monthly cost. I think that's a pretty good way to go. I would love to see you sell some of those, Manny. Um, that would would definitely be cool. Let's see what else we got going on. Angie says Vimeo you can use and select to not have other videos show at the end of the video if that's what they're having issues with. Yes, that's true. This is what I've used for over 20 years versus YouTube if the client wants to keep them on their site. Yes, yes, yes. Um, Christy says to respond to the previous designer's questions, some video formats will also give you an embed code, which makes the video seem native. That is true. Vimeo, that's true. Not just YouTube and Vimeo, but you can put videos elsewhere and take their embed code and pop them into the site, not using our video post, but just using the HTML post. Amika says increase a site's visibility on Bing search engines. Okay. Our search engine submission tool does submit to Bing, but maybe you have something else in mind, Amika. If you can give us an example of where you feel like a client is not getting the type of search result they should, and maybe show me a competitor, that'd be awesome. Submit a support ticket with that because we're running out of time, and we'll look at that. Let's see. Ed says quick notifications for any of our website clients whose payments failed. That's cool. I also know that from within Stripe, you can modify your settings to actually, I think, alert the client that their payment did not go through, I think. But we're going to document that feature as well because it is important you get your sites paid for if a card fails. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Okay. Okay, Manny's saying, I think my offer is good too, but I'm not getting anybody to buy even if they have no website. I'm offering them a website with no setup cost, a review shield, an AI chat message, 125 a month. Still haven't got any takers. Well, Manny, how many demos have you presented at Curiosity? And I would also encourage you to consider starting with the site. Okay, so get them a site off the ground. And then immediately upon site launch, talk to them about the other options. Or lead with the site and the cost associated with the site as the reason why you're setting up a demo. And then when it's time for them to give you the card, that is when you say, all right, cool. So are we just doing the site? Or do you also want to talk about A, B, and C, where these other options will allow them to pay a little bit more and get a ton more? So that is one thing I would consider is lock them in with the website first. Then immediately after, in the honeymoon phase of your relationship, you upsell them on the additional services. Amika says, I'd love a Cash App, Venmo, or Zelle as a form of payment instead of only Stripe. That's interesting. Okay. Mike's asking, are there any plans to make the secure payment link look more presentable aside from just credit card info? I have a client who didn't feel safe adding his card info since he said it didn't look legit. Huh. Can maybe customize or secure our secure payment links in the future? Mike, if you have an idea for how it should look, send it over to us. Like you're like, man, if I could just give them this, they would totally trust it. Let me see it. And maybe there's something that's, feasible that we can do to make that work. I'll admit we put minimal effort into making that presentable. We left it, as generic as can be. Uh, could someone maybe think it doesn't look 100% legit? Maybe, possibly. But I've never run into that situation, but I can understand if someone has. I'm not going to call you a liar. So send us what you have in mind, and just like mock something up or whatever, and you know, uh, shoot, even anything. If you've seen a link that you out in the wild, send it to us. If you want to mock something up quickly, send it to us, and we'll look at it. All right, all right. I gotta say, this has been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. And it's been fun building out the SiteSwan platform, watching you guys all use these new features. More enhancements means more beautiful sites. It means more functional sites. And I want to sincerely thank you for contributing to our platform and our community with your ideas and ambitions. I think that every single time that you bring up something that you want to see on the platform, whether it's a new theme, whether it's a new feature, new functionality, whatever, it is connecting the dots for us on where we need to take this platform into the future so that you can do more of what's making you more money. So I'll say this, I can't wait to host next year's session like this and look back at all the amazing things we got to accomplish together. I want to remind you all that this time of year is a great time of year to be selling websites. Do not think that with the holidays coming up, no one's going to buy. That's the biggest lie. This is a great time for small businesses to make a commitment to buying a new website, to getting it launched for the new year so they can start the new year out the right way. Do not sleep on this opportunity. I've seen so many sites and deals close in December, even mid to late December. If you're not going away, if you're not whatever, spend time on the phone, spend time talking to businesses, talk to people, watch my video about connecting with people over the holidays. I have some really great tips in there. Maybe you can close a deal on Christmas, for goodness sake, and get out there and do it. I hope you have a great rest of the week, a great rest of the holiday season, great rest of the year. The next time we're going to do an Ask Me Anything or a session like this is going to be in the new year. If you want to jot it down in your calendars right now, it is spec'd out to be January, January, January 9th. We're going to go over the 14-day launch plan. As of right now, that's the plan. The 14-day launch plan is when we go through that entire thing from start to finish. Anyone who's new or just needs to revisit it, we can do that. And then the next Ask Me Anything session is going to be on the following week, which is the 16th. So I'll see you guys on January 9th and January 16th. If you have any issues or questions or problems or anything in the meantime, support.siteswan.com or the help drop down in your dashboard, and you can get some help, book a call, whatever you need to do. Thank you all so much. Have a great, great rest of the week, holiday season, and year. Talk to you later. Cue the replay if you guys want to stick around.